This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Audible. If you're listening to this podcast right now, then I'm going to assume that you would also enjoy listening to audiobooks. Whether you're interested in business, history, comedy, science fiction, or romance, Audible has thousands of titles for you to choose from. We want you to try out Audible for free, so if you head to our link, you'll get a 30-day free trial and a free book. So go to audibletrial.com/localhustlerspodcast to redeem your trial today. Again, that's Audible, AUDIBLE, trial.com/localhustlerspodcast.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers podcast. This week, we're super excited to be here with Harp and Jaz Gill with Gill & Co. How's it going, guys?
Good, thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. I'm super excited to have you guys here on the show today, learn more about the business and also to learn a bit about you guys. So why don't you take a couple of minutes and introduce yourselves, tell us a bit about you.
So my name is Harp Gill. That's where the name of the company started off from. We are really excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I'm originally from India. I was born and raised in India. I moved here when I was 10 years old. So I've been here quite a while.
Yeah, and I'm Jaz. I've been in Arizona for a year. I just moved here from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And I came here for Harp, actually. We got married a year ago. And
Congrats.
Thank you. And we were really passionate to do something together. Mm-hmm. And so Gill is from Harp, Gill. And I'm kind of the I think. Am I? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's just us.
Cool.
Well, how did you meet?
Online.
In 2015, we met online.
Okay.
So we did the long distance relationship for a while, and then we got engaged. We got married on paper in 2018, but that way we can start the process of her moving here, and then she moved here last year.
Yeah.
So did you ever imagine coming to America?
No, never. Like, I always thought that I was gonna stay in Amsterdam, and then when I met him in 2015, it was like, oh my god, I'm gonna leave my country and everything, and I'm going to America. And then I was like, okay, it's just a big step, with everything changing. And it's still a big culture shock for me. The language, the people, everything, So I'm still learning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What were you doing back in Amsterdam, for work?
I was working for a big corporate bank at the recruitment department. And I also graduated for my bachelor's degree back then, yeah.
Okay, what degree did you
Business administration.
Business, okay, cool.
And me also, when I met her, I was working for a bank as well here. So that
really?
was something mutual together, So I obviously quit Wells Fargo Bank where I was working to do the clothing company full time. But when we met, we were both at the bank, so we had some kind of connection there. And then that's how we started our conversation online.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's true, yeah.
That's cool. Did you guys have similar roles within the banks you were working for? Or?
No, actually she had a lot more responsible role than me. I was a personal banker, but she was up in the corporate level,
Wow. And did either of you have any plans or ideas to ever start your own business before?
She mentioned that she always wanted to be in fashion. And me, we never thought we were going to be having business together. Before, once we got to know each other, we went our own way. She had her own small business. I started my own small business. And they both, didn't go well together. Then, when we were about to get married, I was having a hard time finding a suit to fit my body. And I wanted something unique, nothing just something everyone can wear, a black suit or a blue suit, So after our wedding, we were talking hey, wasn't it so difficult to find a tux? And then that's when we started hey, what if we were to create a company where we let the customer be more involved? We make a suit that only fits their body. We let them pick the fabric and the lining, the colors, whatever request they have. Why don't we put that request on paper and bring it to life? And that's where it all started, because she was like, hey, I always wanted to be in fashion, and if we can do this together, I think we might have something here. So we started the process. Obviously, we had a lot of ups and downs, trying to figure out, where to begin the manufacturing process. and then all the dots started connecting, and we started interacting with the right people that got us to where we are today.
No, I love business stories, and I love businesses in general that started from a problem and then figuring out a solution for it. I think those end up being some of the most successful businesses. So it's super cool to hear that story. When you initially had that idea, was it like a light bulb and it was like, okay, let's do this, like let's start this business, or was it like a slow process of talking back and forth until you kind of figured you were going to go forward with it?
I would say it was kind of a slow process because we were still like kind of figuring out everything together. Like, okay, how are we going to do it? We are also looking at like other people in other countries, like how are they doing it. So we talked a lot about it.
After we got married, she went back to the Netherlands, and that's when like I had this idea in mind, but I didn't say much, and then one day I just told her, and she's like, you know what, that's a great idea, we should definitely start something. And then while she was in the Netherlands, she started working there while I started working here on this business. So like coming up with the name, filing the LLCs, finding manufacturer. Then we started doing like twice the work, one being in Netherlands, the other one being here. I was more of the person that did a lot of the research in person here because we wanted to start it locally and then see if we can expand.
For sure.
And she did all the back end stuff on the computer in the Netherlands.
Is one of you more like risk averse, like jumping for it and going all in, and the other one kind of holds you back, or are you kind of both a certain way?
I think we're both like go all in because we both had a passion for this. I was like, hey, at the beginning this was a hobby. We never expected people to wear our product. And then when people started wearing our product and the feedback is, oh, you're so affordable, where were you when I needed you at this time? Or like, hey, like this is so unique, we get too much attention when we wear your suit. And when we really didn't expect that, and now that only a year and a half into the business, that we're actually getting a lot of like exposure online, all the word of mouth, that it's actually, it feels really good, that people wear our name proudly now.
That's really cool. So if you don't mind sharing, you mentioned that you had both started a business before this and it didn't go too well. Would you mind talking about maybe some of the mistakes or things that you learned from that business that has now helped you with Gill & Co.?
At the beginning, I started a mobile detailing company.
Okay.
I, being in Arizona, first thing should have been like, man, it's freaking hot here, But I went all in. And, when you start a business and it's your first business, every idea is a good idea.
For sure.
You don't think twice about spending the money. So I started spending money on everything. It took one soap to wash the car. I had 6 different soaps. Because everybody was like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this. So I started listening to other people. So a lot of the mistakes were like, it was never on paper. There wasn't really a business plan. It was all in my head, and I just wanted to go big real fast, overnight success. And that's why the business wasn't successful.
Yeah. And for me, I was doing an event decor business. I'm a very detailed person. And I also like to decorate, even if it's at the house or at the party. So I was like, hey, I can do that. So I ordered like a bunch of like party decor stuff. And then I figured it out when I got like customers. I was like, oh, I'm alone, and they needed like people everywhere basically. And I was like, I never really thought about that, and now doing business with him, like he's financially really like strong. He's really good with math and everything. And I'm like, that's my weakness. So we're like kind of filling each other in with like the things. So he doesn't like administrative stuff. I'm really good in that, so it's a really good thing that we are doing something together. At least like when I was alone, I was like, oh, like sending invoices and stuff like that. That was kind of hard for me, and then with him, like he's really good in those things. So yeah, it's like
and a lot of the mistakes we made in our other businesses, we came here and we started with a business plan first of all.
Okay.
What's the problem? How are we gonna solve the problem? What's the competition? How are we gonna beat our competition? So we started with just the basic stuff to have some kind of knowledge on what this business can bring out to the public here. And then we actually wanted to have a purpose with this business, meaning like it's gonna benefit us, but how is it gonna benefit people that are gonna buy our product? Me, I'm very like old school when it comes to like dressing. I still strongly believe that wearing a suit makes the best impression when you walk into a room. And I want to stick to that. And it shouldn't have to be expensive, because a lot of time people, when they think of suits, they're like, oh, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's because there's only a few big players that people, come to mind when they think of, suits. So we wanted to do something different. And when I told her like, hey, when we do this business, I want to be like mobile, meaning like I want to make sure it's customers are like, they come first. Second, it's at their own time so that they feel value. They don't have to be rushing to go buy a suit. So we said, hey, why don't we make something where we go to the client, we bring the fabrics and the lining to them, we take the measurements where they want to meet us, home or office. So we want to do everything based on convenience for our clients. So, instead of you going to buy a suit, we come to you where you get to sit in your own comfort, feel comfy to go through everything with us and then buy a suit. On average, our consultations take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half because it's all about the customer. Yeah. We take their vision, we bring it to life. Then obviously, we ask them like, what is the occasion, so we can give them tips and tricks on how to make the best of that occasion. So that way, we go through the consultation, allow the customer to really make their full suit.
Love it. And I do want to dive more into kind of that whole process of customizing the suit, but you mentioned something I want to touch on real quick. So you talked about how with this business, you guys made a business plan. So I just want to get your insights on the importance of a business plan, assuming that you didn't do it last time and you did go ahead with it this time. What kind of difference that made for you guys having kind of like a roadmap to go off of?
Well, I feel like having a business plan is a beginning for every business, because if it's in your head, you forget. If it's on paper, you do not forget. You just add on, So it's a start. So for us, when we started this business, we said, hey, if there's no business plan on paper, we're not beginning. Yeah. We're not spending money to invest in this business without having clients first. We made a lot of mistakes in this business at the beginning stages because everybody that approached us that wanted to be our manufacturer and our tailors, we had to obviously believe their word. But then we said, hey, you know what, we're gonna test a sample from all of these companies, and then see which one's gonna actually meet our expectations. Yeah. But then when we found the one we wanted to work with, we said, hey, like this is what we're looking for. These are the details, and like you have to obey by the details that we give you, because I don't want our clients to be disappointed in purchasing a suit from us when, if we show them, a fabric that they see here, but they get something different, because I don't want them to wear something that they're not comfortable with.
Is that a hard process to find manufacturers and then to know, which ones are going to align with you and your vision and your purpose?
So the crazy thing about our business is when we started, we just started with our social media. She's so good on social media where our manufacturers approached us. If we continued the way we were at the beginning, we wouldn't be where we are today. The right manufacturer, just messaged us and said, hey, we want to work with you. And we said, hey, like, how can we work together? Can you send us samples? 2 days later, those samples were at our doors. So that kind of showed like, hey, they really want to work with us. And then obviously, we had to do a lot of things, our whole process, we had to explain it to them. Yeah. The whole, getting the suit made from them, we had to really be on point with our details. Every single sentence, like we have to highlight in red if it's important, if it's yellow, or, we have to really, highlight the details so that way they understand that we really want the product to look exactly the way we have it, described to them.
You talked about like having a business plan, having a purpose, and so much going into this business. Did you have a mentor that you would talk to that kind of helped you out? Were there any books or podcasts that you had educated on yourself on that kind of helped you with this business and structuring it?
Honestly, like a lot of the people that mentor, like I would say that are my mentors are, almost everyone's mentors nowadays, Gary V, Grant Cardone, Ed Milet. So like, I watch all their podcasts, and when they brought on different, business owners, it was like a similar start to our business, because, you see them successful, but you never see them, digging the trenches like, they did.
For sure.
So, at the beginning when we started the journey, it was like kind of frustrating, like, oh man, we're not getting clients. We didn't see our first client for 8 months, but then when we saw the first client, then we were like, that's out of the way. Now, slowly that client referred another one, and then slowly just started growing based on word of mouth. So I said, hey, those 8 months where we were like stressing is basically, you know, was preparing us for this, you know. Like, you know, you don't want to bite more than you can chew.
Yeah.
What if, you know, we got too many orders and we couldn't handle it? But at least this way, every order we got to learn a little from. Like, hey, I didn't like this, how can we improve it for the next one? Or hey, this went wrong here, how can we improve it so it doesn't happen again? So all those orders prepared us to the next orders that came in.
That's cool. You talked about with your first business how, you know, you kind of wanted to, it was kind of like a overnight success that you were going for, whereas this time it was slow. It sounds like on purpose you guys took things slow so that way you could tweak things and make it sure it was perfect by the time, you know, referrals started coming in and you had more customers. So it's cool to see that you kind of were intentional about that and making sure that it was not only successful for you guys but for your customers as well.
And the thing is, the first business was, you know, money driven. Like, we want to make money fast. This business, we wanted to see if we can make an impact. You know, we wanted to start a legacy, start something that we can have for generation to go. That's why we came up with the name Gill & Co. I was like, hey, you know, it's already a last name that's been carried on for generations. Why don't we can start a company that will continue this going forward? And then at the beginning, you know, with the first business, you know, we really didn't think of like, how are we going to change lives around us? With this one, we said, hey, you know, if we start making a successful product, how can we help other? So that's when we were like, hey, you know, we're going to donate a portion from every suit to a local charity. So that way there's other purpose rather than just to make money. We want to obviously make sure that the business is growing and successful, but then we are also doing our part, and a mission is to, like, you know, help local charities as well.
And it's really cool. I think like when you are focused more on helping other people and people see that, eventually like you will make more money because of that, because people are more able to support a business, or they want to support someone that's giving back to the community and isn't in it all for themselves.
That's right. And so, I think every business should have some sort of a purpose behind them, because it's like a fuel to your business.
For sure,
you know?
drives
if you have the drive to do the business with that fuel, it's going to be an extra faster driver.
Definitely. Well, let's talk a bit more about the process of a customer coming to you and getting to a suit. So you mentioned a bit. So you actually go to the customer then, and
so the process mainly starts, you know, when the customer reaches out to us. You know, my wife Jocelyn, she's the one that handles all the social medias and the, you know, all the appointments that she sets for me. Once the appointment is set, then, you know, we go to the client, whether it's their home, office, or wherever they want to meet us.
Okay.
And the process begins with, you know, obviously taking about 30 measurements of their body. That way, you know, we make one suit that just fits them, not one suit that fits all. And then we get down to the hard part. The hard part is selecting the colors. We have about 2,000 different fabric colors. You know, we have everything from plain color, designs, you know, and like creative stuff. And then we start with picking out the fabric, the lining, then the stitching color, the buttons for the suits as well. And then any customization that the customer want, like whether it's they want to put their name on the inside, initials outside, even if they want to put pictures of their loved ones on the inside lining, we can print our own linings down. So we then take that image, you know, and then we bring it to life that way. So a customer really isn't just buying a suit, they're actually buying something that means more to them, have sentimental meaning to them.
That's really cool. What would you say like the most important part of the customization is?
I feel like, you know, a lot of customers, they get overwhelmed with a lot of colors, but at the end, when they wear their suit, it fits them like a glove when they're, you know, we're all done with our process. A typical time frame for our suit, it's anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. You know, a lot of the companies that sell suits, you know, they have their suits laser cut. Ours are hand cut. You know, it's about 70 to 80 hours of work that goes into making a suit, making sure that it fits perfectly. So, you know, with us, you know, like once the suit is here, you know, from our manufacturer, then what we do is then we meet one time at our tailor to see if there's any last minute alterations that the customer wants to do. Most of the time, you know, if you didn't gain anywhere or lost any weight, then the suit's ready to go. But if you gained some weight or lost some weight, we can make a last minute adjustments.
Oh, that's really cool. What all can you customize when it comes to this? So obviously size, and you mentioned different fabrics, different colors. Are there any other things you can do to kind of customize
the
suit?
We can customize anything. You name it, we can do it. Basically, like if you wanted, like, you know, different color sleeves, we can put different color sleeves.
Wow.
You know, but at the end of the day, we also like this being our business, we also have to give people like the honest truth too. Like, if they want a white suit with black sleeves, gonna say, hey, you're not gonna wear this every day, but we can do it. So it's you can customize it to like, whatever you like, but then we have to give them tips and tricks on how to make it look nice for the occasion. Because you want it to look good, but you want it look good in a good way.
Yeah. And I was gonna ask about that, if there was like a certain style that you guys prefer or suggest, because it has your it's your brand and your name on it. If someone just comes up with this weird disastrous suit, like what do you do about that?
See, the thing is, we're all known for our lapels. We do only wide lapels.
Okay.
And we do have our signature color, which is the white threading on the lapel here, and then also the first button on the sleeve, it's always white stitching because our color of the company is white. Other than that, if a customer wants to put their own touch, that's what this is the reason why we started the business. We wanted the customer to be able to bring their vision to life. That's all. We wanted to help them create it, but give them the chance to actually, create their own designs.
Cool. What's been your favorite suit that you've customized so far?
Oh man, there's so many of them. I would say all of them. Why? Because we have never made the same suit twice. So every single client we have had is in a different, unique, style. At the beginning, we were just thinking like, hey, it's just going to be for once in a while type wear. We have clients that wear them to work now. We have clients that wear them to their weddings, for photo shoots and stuff like that. So they all were special in some sort of way, just because they were never the same. We have never done the same suit twice.
Yeah, that's cool. And you have different colors, but are there different type of fabrics too, or is it like the same fabric for all of them?
So we have a lot of cotton fabrics. We do have some polyester fabrics where they're a little bit of blend. The reason why is because they have a lot of designs on it. So it depends. If some of our jackets, they are some shiny, flashy fabrics that we have. So it all depends. We have silk, we have velvet, we have cotton. Whatever the customer wants, we have. But
Cool.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
You mentioned customer referrals, and that's been a big way that you guys have gotten business. Have you guys done anything else in terms of marketing or advertising to get new clients?
We try to go to any events possible. When we see local entrepreneur events, we try to go to as many as possible. Obviously, this is our first podcast, so this is a good experience for us as well. Yeah. But we are focusing on doing a lot more in the community because this kind of business is all about show and tell. So more faces that can see our product is gonna how we grow our business
for sure. And I'm sure it helps. You can wear your suits around. It's like a free marketing piece as well.
Dressed at the event. The thing is like people, like some people find reasons to wear a suit. I wear a suit 7 days a week, so I like wearing suits all the time.
Love it. You talked about being able to be affordable because so many people think of suits as super expensive to get. What's kind of like the price range? Because like you can look online and find super cheap suits, and you can find suits for extremely expensive, and then ever in between. So what's kind of like the price range that you guys are at?
There are suits that are cheaper than our suits. Yeah. But that's the suit that you find off the rack. But just remember, when you find off the rack, it's one size fit all. And then you have to get it tailored down to your size. When it comes to custom suits, it's a suit that's made based on your body structure and also colors that you cannot get from the store. Yeah. On typical, our suits range anywhere from $7.99 and $9.99. But like I said, it's basically the experience and then also the quality of the product as well.
And also the add-ons, like if
Yeah.
they want to put like the pictures inside, it's like a little bit more. And then also like if you're adding a vest to it, so it's going to be a 3-piece, so it's going to be a little bit more. So
Yeah.
also the add-ons. Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Now, I love your global influence, right?
Yeah.
And when I think of fashion, I think of Europe. So, how much has your background, being from Amsterdam, influenced the design of the suits from Gill & Co.?
I would say like the fashion in Europe is so much different. So I'm trying to like help him with like styling the suits. I would say for him, like I'm more like I like slim fitted clothes, and even the pants, like if they are slim fitted from the bottom. So that's something that I like, and we did it on his suits as well. And like the customers first, they're like, oh yeah, it's fine, but then they see his pants and they're like, oh, actually I want my pants like yours. And then at the final alterations that we have at our local tailor, they're like, hey, I still want my pants to be more slim fitted, so that's kind of how we are like trying to make it more stylish. And that's where that fashion sense comes handy.
And when I went to Amsterdam, you see a lot of suits out there. Everybody's wearing a suit, but they look so slim in their suits. It's because their suits only fit them. Here, a lot of time, we're just focused on just putting something on and not worrying about how much it costs, but we're trying to do it the cheapest way possible. Then, you don't like focus on the details, Our suits, because it's made for like one client that we're, making the suit for, it just makes you look slim, tall, and have all the confidence in the world,
How has COVID impacted your business? Because with everyone staying at home, there's been a big rise in Zoom meetings and not, dressing up and going somewhere in person. So there's been a lot less of that, and there's been a big increase I've seen in people just buying, comfortable loungewear sort of clothing. So what has that kind of done to your business?
Our business actually grew. Last year when COVID hit, yes, we were like, oh, what's gonna happen? But the best thing about our business is we don't have a storefront, so we were never impacted, like closing down our store because we work from home. You know, but we gained so many clients because there's a lot of our clients that are still going to work. They're still getting married, and then there's clients that have already contacted us because they're getting married in the future. So we're like, you know what? I don't think Zoom meetings are going to be forever. It's going to be an opportunity for people like, hey, make the choice. Do you want to work from home or do you still want to go to the office? Yeah. Me, I work twice as much when I'm at an office or, where I'm supposed to be working at home. I do half of the work because there's so much distraction. So right now we're actually just planning to, for the wedding stuff. We're also have clients that are, having future dates like, hey, I need a suit for this occasion and that occasion. So it really didn't impact us, but it was something that was like an eye-opener. Like, hey, if this was to ever happen again, we do have to have a backup plan.
For sure. And do you guys have some sort of backup plan in place?
Eventually, like we do want to be able to have this done through the computer. We want to be able to see if we can do orders through automation where people can be at their home and submit all the measurements, pick all the colors, and do everything online, and we just take care of it like that. The only reason we like to do it in person right now is because of like, being more convenient and also like making sure the measurements are taken correctly. Because
for sure,
every inch in a suit, it's very important. Then you'll end up with something that doesn't fit.
Right, you're trusting the customer to get the exact right measurements, and then they're upset if it doesn't fit good. Yeah, makes sense. Tell us a bit about your roles within the business, like what you guys do, and I guess what your strengths are within running the business.
I'm more of like the accounting person. Like I handle all the numbers, sending the, invoices, and also, making sure the manufacturer getting everything. And then I'm the face bit where I meet the clients. I do the consultations and everything like that. When it comes to technology, that's all her actually.
Yeah, I'm more like the social media person, the person who takes the phone calls, makes the appointments, and that's it, I would say.
How big has social media been for you guys?
Well, it's growing slowly, I would say. I'm not like a social media, like a professional person in that, but like I like to post pictures. I like to have like a clean content of what we are doing. So, Yeah, it's been growing good, like especially now that we are more like into the local community, going to events. So yeah, it's going good.
Going back, remember you guys had both worked at a bank and you talked about you handled accounting in the business. Was there anything from your previous jobs that you learned working at a bank that's kind of helped in terms of running the finances of the business?
For me, yeah, everything that I learned at the bank, I'm applying now, you know, because I saw struggling businesses, so I saw why they were struggling, you know, and then making sure that when we are doing everything, it's all on paper in Excel sheets. We're saving everything for the future or like at the end of the year stuff. So we're making the extra like 5-10 minute steps now, so that way it'll save us time at the end.
Yeah.
And then also, you know, when it comes to business, you really need to know your numbers. So like we definitely I spend a lot of time making sure, you know, like I'm giving a lot of value to our clients, but at the same time making sure it's sustainable for our business as well.
For sure. So for any entrepreneurs listening, what are some good numbers to focus on and look at within your business?
I would say basically, you know, obviously taxes are the number one thing. You know, I always want to put that aside. Also, like what the daily expenses are for your business. You got to know what's coming in and what's going out, how you can maximize profit and reduce your expenses, that kind of stuff. Like for us, you know, we had at one time 3 different manufacturers. Then we said, hey, you know, we're going to focus on just this one because this one is actually going to be better for the long term. So that way we can only focus on this. And then we, you know, negotiating work like, hey, you know, if we want to just hire you, like you got to give us better prices so we can give those savings to our clients here, because nobody's going to buy a suit that's $1,500.
Yeah.
So it was all about, you know, negotiating prices with our clients so that way we reduce our expenses. That way we can give those savings back to our clients.
You mentioned that you guys went 8 months, was it, without getting a client? So that's a lot of time without, you know, money coming in. Were you guys working other jobs? Are you still having other jobs right now, or what was the process
so
there?
Me, I didn't quit the banking job. I stayed there as long as possible. And you know, even once we started getting sales, I still continued to work there.
Yeah.
I recently left that job to focus on this full time because now I see the 10-year picture I see now in this business. So I had to make that decision like, hey, is it better for now or is it better for long term? So I had to quit that job so I can go all in on this one. But while we were growing this one, I didn't leave my day job.
Okay.
And for me, I didn't have a job yet because I didn't have my green card yet.
Gotcha.
So I had to wait.
Gotcha.
And to follow up on that, you mentioned earlier that you have some mentors, you know, like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone. And one of the challenges is we see super successful entrepreneurs, and then we have these great visions of grandeur and ease of, I'm going to own my own business and it's going to be great. I'm going to make all this money. And then you go 8 months without a sale. One of the benefits of this podcast is our audience are people just like you that are starting their business and are in the trenches with you. Talk to us a little bit about your mindset during those 8 months and what you did to keep the motivation, to keep the hope, to keep the drive going. Because you could have shut your doors after 7 months and we wouldn't be here right now, right?
You know,
so talk to us about that.
You know, with her, like I told her like, hey, you know, when we first started, our Instagram had 0 followers, you know, and I told her, hey, you need to continue posting, get the message out there, tell them the story so that way she continue posting. And me, I just try to go as like, I remember I used to go to the mall and stand outside waiting for people to leave the mall and be like, hey, you know, this is what I do. You want to take my card? And I would get kicked out of the mall, you know, because I was desperate for sales. At the beginning, you know, those 8 months were tough because it was back to like, hey man, is this another bad business? Did we jump into this like the same thing we did at the other business? But in this business, you know, working from home, we weren't really bleeding money out. It was just hard to get the clients to, you know, trust us. COVID hitting, you know, we're like, oh man, this is gonna really put us back. But then I was like, you know what? No, there's still gonna be opportunity here. And then on Instagram is where we got our first sale. You know, customer reached out to us, and we were like not expecting. We're like, oh, somebody wants a suit, and we're like, oh, this is great. And then we did the consultation, you know, and that time, you know, we were still trying to figure out our numbers, you know, because we wanted to make sure that we have it priced reasonably. We get our first sale in 8 months, but for the first 3-4 orders, we didn't make no money because the numbers were not right. We were taking a loss. So, but if those sales didn't happen, it would not have helped us, you know, get to the right price point for the business. But those 8 months were very crucial because it just motivated us to just keep going. That's basically it.
Was there ever a point where you had the conversation, is this the right business? Should we try something else?
No, because she told me, she's like, hey, look, this is going to be a home run. Like, she's like, I know that I believe in the future of this business, not what the present of this business is. Because me, everybody knows Ralph Lauren, but nobody knows that he used to sell ties out of the pickup truck before he became this big. So I always thought of that story like, hey, he was selling ties out of a pickup truck at a corner, and look at the massive success they had.
Yeah.
So I know that eventually we will have the success. We just have to keep working harder. Don't get me wrong. Along that time, we got our website, got that all going. Then we got obviously our LLCs done. We got Instagram, Facebook. We did like Facebook ads, Instagram ads. None of those were really working, but we try to, see what we can do to just, put more time into the business. And over time, we created like a better process too, because before it was like client tell us, hey, this is a suit we want. Then we said, hey, no, we can't have customer tell us what suit they want. We need to show them what kind of suits that are available.
Yeah.
What styles are available. So we started spending a lot of that 8 month educating ourselves on this business, because at the beginning we didn't know we were gonna start a company that's gonna be making suits. I just had an idea like, hey, I like with my body type, I go to the gym so much, it's hard to find a suit. Either they fit my arm and they didn't fit my body, or they fit my body and didn't fit my arm.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. So then we slowly started to just do better things on paper to prepare us for the future. The first 8 months we just improved the business without any sales. Once the sales came, we started improving the business based on the sales as well.
What's the key to knowing whether you do have a home run business that you just got to keep waiting out and keep pushing, or knowing that, hey, like with the mobile detailing, it's a good thing that you didn't keep pushing on that, because you wouldn't be where you are today. So how do you know the difference of, I put the proper amount of time and effort into it, it just wasn't the right idea, I need to move on, versus I need to keep going, I can't give up because I know that this is going to be successful?
I think the best answer is passion. Like, if you have a passion for your business, then you're not doing it for the money.
Yeah.
You're going to keep working twice as hard regardless if it's, working or not, because you are literally building a business for the long term, not the short term picture. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, you follow these people that have big businesses and you are like, oh, they became successful so fast, but they never tell about the story that the journey that they had to go through. So for us, it was our passion. We weren't really doing this for like, money or anything else. We said, hey, we have a purpose and we have a problem to solve.
Yeah.
Our problem is making sure that the suit fit all our clients, and our purpose is that we are donating portion of it to the charities that we believe in.
Mm-hmm. Love it. You talked about quitting your job, how you were working for a while, and then you mentioned something about how you realized maybe short term, it makes more sense to be at my job, but for the long term, for the 10-year picture, it was going to make more sense to focus all in on the business. What's kind of the deciding factor to know when that time is to kind of jump over?
When you go to your 9-to-5 job, if you're not happy going there every day, that's like your eye opener. For me, I was on my week of vacation, and my first day off, I just went home and I said, hey, like, I don't want to go back. And she said, I support you. If you don't want to go back, you don't have to. I went the next day just to say, hey, manager, like, I'm not going to be coming back from this vacation. Just give me a heads up so you can replace me.
Yeah.
Because I was just so much more happier doing this, my own business, than going to a business where those 8 hours just felt like a 24-hour clock, Now I feel like I have more time in the day to focus on myself, us, and our business, so that way I'm more productive now.
For sure. No, that's really cool. And it's something we just talked about on one of our recent episodes, how one of our guests said that they made a decision to give up, money initially, to create a better lifestyle for themselves, to do something that made them happier, and they had more time for themselves and for family and for other things like that. So do you feel like you were kind of in that same position?
Yeah, mainly my health. My health was going really bad too.
Mm-hmm.
I gained so much weight because I worked at the bank and I sat all day. As soon as I quit my job, I was a little bit more happier. I lost the weight I wanted to lose. We've been actually more happier together since I quit my job than before. Because before, she would be at home all day and I would be at work all day. I come home, I sleep, and I go back to work the next day again. You know, now we get to spend more time with each other, and the best thing is that we both have the same business. Now we work together, we stay together, we do everything together. Yeah.
And so are you guys pretty much together all day working on the business, or what's the dynamic there?
We have our, you know, time structure. Like there is times like, hey, this is date time.
Yeah.
This is gym time. This is work time.
Yeah.
You know, like when we go out on our dates, we try not to involve any business. We try to focus on each other. And then same thing when we go to the gym, you know, we wear our t-shirts with our business on it. So if somebody asks, you know, we definitely promote. But when it's our own time, we try to not work. We just try to be couples.
Yeah, for sure. And I was going to ask about that, because one of the pros and cons of working from home is you're always technically at work when you're home. So how do you kind of just, you know, cut off and say, okay, work is over. I'm still with my business partner, but now we're just
me. I'm really bad at that. She keeps me in check. You know, hey, we need to do this. Like yesterday, we had to record some videos. I say, hey, we can just do it tomorrow. She's like, nope, we're gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
So we had to record our content yesterday. You know, because like she really believes in schedule. You know, like we have to follow our schedule, and then once it's done, then, you know, then it's fun time.
Yeah. That's why, as I mentioned before, like we like fill each other in, I guess, like in the things, like I'm good in other things and he's good in other things. So yeah, it's a good.
And
thing.
me, I know I'm bad on social media. I cannot do anything on the computer because I don't. That's not my expertise. So I don't step on her toes and let her do her role.
Yeah.
While I'm doing my part in the business, so that way we get a lot more accomplished.
For sure. What would you say your favorite part about being a business owner has been so far?
For me, it's the feedback from customers. You know, like how we make them like we get to be a part of their special memory. Like when they wear our suit to a wedding, it just feels so much nicer.
Sure.
To a promotion, to an award ceremony. You know, when people say, hey, like, I get so much attention with your suit. I don't like it. I'm like, oh, is that your problem? Like, I'm like, that's really good. You know, that's what I want. So that's why we make people look good and help them make a good impact, and also feel more confident. You know, feel like they can conquer anything.
Yeah. And Jaz, same for you or anything else?
Yeah, it's just such a happy feeling, I would say, like when people are actually like saying like, oh, I'm so happy with my Gill & Co suit, or when they are actually reposting your suit and stuff like that. And I remember like the first time when we had our first customer, and those people were like, were true customers actually, and they were like really happy, and we were like, oh my god, we did it, like we completed a whole process, and we were like, can you believe it? And he was like, wow, no, actually no. So it was such a great feeling, and now it's going more and more, you know. So yeah, we are just so grateful, you know, for that.
And I never expected, you know, like for us it was a hobby, you know, and I think that was the best way to start a business. Started from a little hobby that you just have fun growing and having fun every day. Like I like working at a bank was good for 40 hours, but working on this 24/7 is just more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned that your first couple sales you lost money because you didn't have your pricing right, you didn't know your numbers. Any lessons learned from that you could share with our listeners about what they could do if they're, you know, they're in the beginning stages, they don't know how to price their product? You don't necessarily want to be working for free, right? You could, especially depending on the price point, you can get yourself in a lot of hurry because cash is king when you're first starting your business. Any advice that you would give to our listeners on how to get those numbers right?
You have to do a lot of research. You know, you literally have to like do research on who's your competition first of all, and then pretend like you're the client and call them. What I did was I made a list of everybody that we're trying to compete with, and I called them. Then I showed up to their stores, and then we were like, hey, you know, we're gonna be the cheapest in Arizona, and then we found out that cheap is not always good. You know, it's the quality that people pay for. It's the value that you provide, not just because you're cheap. So that's when we were like, you know, we went from like trying to compete with ourselves to now we're trying to compete with the big boys. You know, like how can we be the next Men's Warehouse? You know, that kind of stuff. How can we be someone that can, you know, start from small and be big in the long term? But what is it that we need to focus on now? So you got to know your pricing, but you need to know the pricing based on your competition, research your competition, and then a lot of it is going to be a trial and error. You know, just make sure you're not wasting money. Like at the beginning stages, when we found our manufacturer, instead of ordering one suit, I ordered 5 from each one of them. So when the suit was wrong, guess what? I had to throw 5 suits away from one manufacturer. And at the beginning, I probably had to throw away about 20, 30 suits. Now, that's thousands of dollars that I had to throw away because I made the mistake of not ordering one, not, talking to the manufacturer, letting them know like what is that I'm expecting from them. So I made those mistakes at the beginning. So that's why we don't make the mistakes now, because we really detail down to every single order that we place and get the suit made for our clients.
Well, that's a mistake you won't make again, right?
Probably never.
Yeah. No.
We talked about, what you guys love doing in the business. On the flip side, is there any part of the business, or I guess, what would you say is the hardest part so far in terms of being a business owner and trying to grow a business?
So for the hardest part for me would be is, like being in front of a lot of people, because our product, like people have to see it, they have to feel it, they have to then, because not every day you wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go buy a suit today. You have to have an occasion for it. So being in front of the right audience is definitely something very, like our weaker side. So that's why we try to do, try to go out and network as much as possible so that way we can be out there. She continues posting every day just to build awareness about the brand.
Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about the plans for the future. So you mentioned, potentially letting people fill all their measurements online. Any other ideas or thoughts on, what the plan is for Gill & Co. moving forward?
We want to be the one-stop shop for everything that's suit related. So we are working on like bow ties and ties, cufflinks, tie clips. We are working on loafers as well. So we're trying to do everything custom though. It's not going to be like, hey, just pick out a pair of shoes and you wear it. No, we're going to let you customize your own loafer too.
Wow.
So that's why we're spending a lot of our time now developing products that will be like a whole package, so that way people don't have to come buy a suit here and then they got to still travel
go
to
somewhere
buy a
else
shoe.
to find everything else. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And then obviously, in terms of letting people order online, would you then be able to not only be able to help people locally, but more of like on a national scale, let people custom
more
order their
for the
suits?
long term.
Yeah.
I do want to, like, eventually I would like to see my business in every state, and that's the only way I'll be able to reach everyone is through the internet.
Yeah, gotta love the internet and what it can do for us,
especially nowadays. We all spend a lot of time on social media and on websites. So I feel like that's gonna be something that we have to definitely look into, is just getting in front of the right person at the right time and make sure that if they're in another state, that doesn't hold us back from fulfilling their request.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Well, love all the advice you guys have shared so far. I'm curious, before we start to close up here, if there was one last piece of advice that both of you would have to share for our listeners, what would it be?
I would just say go for it. That's it. Like, if you have a business or that you're passionate about, just go for it. Like, don't let someone hold you back. Because I remember at the beginning, I would say, I'll just do it tomorrow. And then I wasted a whole month. Yeah. And if I would have done it right away, would have made a month of like improvement. So I would just say, whatever your goals are, your dreams, if you want to be a business owner or an entrepreneur, just go for it. That's it.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Even if you ever started a business before and it didn't work out, never give up. If you have another idea, just keep trying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And just to touch on that, so you mentioned that you have experienced times where you've maybe procrastinated and haven't gone for it. What made the difference, or what helped you to kind of go for it at certain times rather than the times where you struggled to do it?
Like, I would just look at myself, and then I always say, like, man, I'm in the same place where I was a week ago. If I would have started, I would have been a lot farther. Yeah. So I started, looking at myself. And then I will see other businesses that I saw growing, they just took the little baby steps, and now they're so far ahead because they continued working.
Awesome. As we close up here, we have a quick game we're going to play with you guys.
Okay.
So how it's going to work is we have a list of 20 questions that we're going to ask you. And you guys have a minute to answer as many of those questions as you can. So it'll just be rapid fire answers. We'll see how many you guys can get.
Perfect.
All right. We will go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1.
Your dream vacation?
Bora Bora.
First thing you'd buy if you won $1 million?
A Chanel bag.
Your favorite hobby?
Tennis.
If there was an Olympic competition for everyday activities, what activity would you have a good chance at winning a medal in?
Pass.
A song you've been jamming to?
Man, I've been listening to a lot of DMX because he passed away. That's why.
Gotcha. If you live to be 100, would you rather have the mind or the body of your prime self?
The mind.
Your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Pistachio.
Favorite fictional character?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man? Yeah.
Favorite smell?
Roses.
What's your nickname?
Happy.
Pet peeve?
Slurping.
Your favorite restaurant?
I love pizza, so it's a real pizza.
I miss it. What pizza?
A real pizza.
Real pizza. Is that a place around here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if it's everywhere. We found one by our house. We had pizza there one time. I think we had pizza 3-4 times a week.
They're
from
really
there.
good.
Like today's like, I don't want to eat, I'm saying pizza. You know, so we've been eating a lot of pizza from there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like my favorite food. That's why.
Huh. We'll have to check it out. Cool.
And pistachio ice cream.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, no, like same here. I love pistachio ice cream, and whenever we go to Canada, like Vancouver, Canada, we drive an hour almost to White Rock Beach just for pistachio ice cream because there's a shop that sells it by the best one ever.
Wow. Have to check that out.
I go to
sometime.
Vancouver. Pistachio ice cream for sure.
Love it. Well, Harp and Jaz, thank you guys so much for coming on today. We've really enjoyed hearing about you, your story in the business and what you guys are doing, and your passion is awesome.
Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
As we're closing up here, why don't you let our listeners know where they can connect with you, where they can find more about you and the business?
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, Gill & Co. Dash, and we also have our own website, gillandco.com. And about the promotion.
And if any of the listeners, you know, they mention local hustlers, you know, we'll definitely give them $100 off on all their suit orders.
Awesome. Love it. Well, there'll be a picture going up on this as well so people can see the suit you're wearing. They can check out your
Looks
social
like $1 million.
Oh, thank you.
They'll be able to check out your social media account and see some of the fresh suits you guys have there. So, yeah, once again, thank you for sharing your inspiring story. It's been a pleasure to have you guys on.
Thank you for having us.
For sure. All right. Have a good week, everyone. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. Just a few things before we go. First off, if you or someone you know is an entrepreneur in the East Valley, we'd love to have you on the show. Please get in touch with us by emailing us at localhustlerspodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at localhustlerspodcast. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for the latest news and updates. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds to rate and review and hit that subscribe button. It lets us know how we're doing and helps us grow so we can reach more locals, entrepreneurs, and help small businesses grow. Thanks, guys.